Let's go. Have you thought in your business lately, maybe, are you overwhelmed? Not sure what to do? Maybe you're just being inconsistent with postings or even working your business, feel burned out, or even think, where did the time go? If one of those thoughts has come across your mind, or maybe one of your team members, then this training is going to be for you. So most social sellers, it's not a motivation problem, it's an overload problem. We have so many things in our business, in our lives that we're doing, and all of a sudden we just get this freeze. It's like, I don't even know what to do. So we end up not doing anything. And it's not that we're not motivated. We all have goals and dreams that we want, but sometimes we need to take it back and simplify. We got to go back to the basics. And that's really what today is about. It's about just really going back to what those income producing activities are, because that's what it's all about. All right, Moni.
Okay. So going back to basics, huh? Yes. So going back to basics, there is going to be four main things that will help you get back to your basics, okay? And the first one, which is the one that you guys always hear all the time, and you think to yourself, okay, yes, I've already heard, be consistent, be consistent, be consistent. We're going to actually give you the things along in this training of what that means to be consistent daily, okay? You're going to have a roadmap. It's not just this word consistent, okay? But the one thing that consistent does entail is daily, and you heard Leigh drop a little seed, income producing activities, IPA, and I'm not talking about beer here, okay? IPA, income producing activities. Now we're going to streamline that as we go forward. The second one to simplify and master your business is going to be about automation and prioritizing the things to help you in your income producing activities, okay? The third thing that's going to help you simplify is going to be the topic of cut the fat. This is about going straight to the goal, okay? Everything you break up into mini goals to actually get the streamline done and to get the daily activity of consistency and to really focus in on what that means for you, okay? And the fourth thing that helps you simplify so that you can master your business is about knowing your resources. And that's where the overwhelm can come a lot of the time, is because you just get all these things. You're like, I know I need to be consistent. I don't really know what to prioritize. I kind of know my goal, but I'm not really sure. And I know where my resources are, but my resources are everywhere. I'm not quite sure. Has anyone felt like this? If you have felt like this, I really hope that you listen to this training, because these four things, okay, consistency, streamlining, cutting the fat, and knowing your resources are going to help you accomplish this simplifying towards your business, okay, so that you can really get some income into your business. All right, next. Okay.
All right. So when you think about your goals, when we think about our BP business, if we break it down into our goals, we have lives and sales, things that are behind the camera, shipping, prepping, your background, whatever that may be, behind the camera activities, and then team building and community. So when we think about simplifying, we always need to think in terms, does it fit into one of these categories? And does it get me straight to the point? So that's what we need to think about as we're going through to really start simplifying. Is it going to help me towards my sales, or is it going to help me towards my live? Is it going to help me towards team building in my community? Or, I mean, obviously, shipping in the background things, there are things that we don't even often talk about behind the scenes, business, camera wise. And so, is it working towards that business goal to get me where I need to go?
Yeah. Can you go back for 1 second?
Oh, yes, ma'am.
So those of you, the first part of the simplifying, right? We talked about consistency. That is where you're going to drop one of these things into your daily, okay? So is today going to be a live sales day? Is today going to be something that I work on with my community? And we'll get into that what that means and what are the actions that you can do? Or is this going to be a behind the camera day where I'm pulling my reports, I'm looking at my business, I'm looking at my numbers, because that is what it's about, right? The numbers at the end of the day. So one of these categories is going to be your daily consistent roadmap. Okay. If that makes sense. So you'll have your daily consistency, live sales. Is it team building or community, or is it behind the camera? Does anybody have any questions about that before we move forward?
What do you think about having these half and half, right? Because are you talking about this being
Oh,
all
oh yeah,
one thing for one
That's
absolutely.
a
It
day?
could be part of your
that's
day.
a
Yes, you can mix it up and you'll see we have some ideas to share where you could be doing almost all three of these in a day.
Yeah. And there's a specific method that you're going to see later in a minute in this training where you're all the that is going to be targeted. You can target any combination of these. I love that question, Manny. Yeah, because you can definitely, you don't have to just do one. I think that in the beginning, when you first start the business, you may be where you need to focus on just one, right? You don't want to overwhelm yourself. But I think as you get more familiar with what your activities are and what it takes to run your business, you're going to then be able to utilize some of the tools that we're going to give you so that you can do a little bit of each one of these in your consistency, in your calendar, in your goals, right? And eventually get into the second part, which is streamlining these. All right. Yeah. Any other questions before we move on?
All right,
Okay.
let's jump into
All
it.
right. Next. Okay, so now we are in the daily income producing. Okay, what is that? What can that look like? This is all about the communication. Okay, so for me, in my customers, if I have a VIP group, and something that I know each of the leaders in here is really good at, and I am not perfect, but like sometimes I look at my beautiful friends Manny and J-Lo and Lee and a lot of my other really top leaders. I'll look at their VIP groups because they're so kind and they allow me to be in there, and I'll be like, wow, that is so inspiring because they do have a very consistent communication with the people in their community. And that is going to be something that you are going to want to put into your habit, okay, your toolbox. You're going to want to learn and teach yourself about emails and about texting and about either a private group, right? Another thing for an income producing activity, these are all things that can produce income, okay? We're trying to get over the overwhelm and give you actual steps. Is you're gonna, and I'm sure you've heard this before from your leaders, decide about your live schedule. Decide, am I going to make it Mondays, Wednesdays, Thursdays? Am I only going to do one day? And it doesn't mean that you may not miss a day. It doesn't mean that you're going to have, ups and downs on the schedule. But the whole point is to try to give yourself some kind of schedule so you don't fall flat on your goal at the end of the month and think, oh, I wonder why I didn't meet this goal. And you can actually look, you can go back and there's data and you can actually look at the data and say, oh, well, I only went live 5 times this month. And if you're only going live 5 times this month, that's going to affect your business, right? Your income. Oh, I only emailed or texted my customers once this, per week. Or, oh, I only did this kind of communication. So you really need to look at the data instead of just being like, oh, it's not working. Right? This is about finding you a roadmap to your success in your income producing activities every day. And you, at the end of the month, you can look at it and physically see where is it that you're lacking, right? It's really important in any business to look about what's coming, right? So that's a little like sweet treat, right? That your customers are waiting for. They want to know what's coming. You don't have to leave it to them to go and find out what the next collection is or what the next XYZ is. You go, you figure it out, and then you share the best that you can and ask them if they're excited about it, okay? You can tell them all the updates. You can share if you get products, demos, sneak peeks. You can share those sneak peeks with your customers too. So this is not about leaving it up to them to find the things that get them excited to engage with you. This is about engaging with them on the front end, okay? And then on the back end is where you're going to have your follow-ups. That is where you're going to have, oh, did you like this collection? Maybe that you get follow-ups of what did they like or didn't like about the live that you just had. There's different ways, and you can incentivize people to engage with you in your emails, in your text. These are all going to be ways to help you do income producing activities on a daily level, a weekly level, a monthly level, and have the data so that you can see what is working and what is not working. Does anyone have any questions about this information?
Right.
Okay, we're going to move forward. So this was what Manny kind of asked, like, can you do a mixture? Because the mixture was live sales, team building and community, and behind the camera. This is an actual method. It's called the 333 method. You can look it up. It's a known network marketing method. If you've never heard of it, I'm excited to kind of introduce it to you. It's definitely, I have made it an even bigger method I call a 777, but if you want to know about that, you can reach out to me. But this is like the smaller scale of that. This is really well known. And I have keyed this down towards easier to understand, okay? So let's start with the first three. The first three, obviously it says interactions. So interactions can be specific about content, right? So you're going to go, and the three likes don't just mean, you're going and you're just like consuming and then putting, oh, I like. You're being intentional. Okay, this is all about being intentional. So the three likes, you're either going to like content from a VIP member, from a customer, okay, that has engaged with you, or maybe you're going to engage with a fellow leader that you like. You're intentionally creating community with the people that are either your customer or collaboration, okay? You're going to make sure that you are also commenting. Just like you want comments on yours, people are more likely to engage with you when you are also giving them your energy, okay? So you're going to do intentional commenting on either somebody that you like maybe look up to, right? Or somebody within your community, and you're trying to form connection. Because remember, trust, like, know. Before somebody shops with us, they have to build those trust, like, and know factors in order to feel comfortable shopping, okay? The part of this 3 interactions is going to help build that like, know, trust factor. And then 3 replies. Now, 3 replies could be when somebody engages back with you, okay, whether it be in any form, it could be across any platform, okay, in any way. You want to try to have intentional replies back and communication back to them so that you can start to build that like, know, trust, okay? This is something you can actually grasp, okay? The second 3 places for content. Now, we didn't want to just say one platform because there's obviously everyone uses different platforms, right? But you can either interact for content, you can put out personal content, okay, about your daily life, your maybe something of a release that just came out. You can also put this on a personal page, right? Or you could put this on a business page, like if you have Facebook, right? You could do this in a VIP group. You could do this in a story, in a reel. You just want to make sure in this method you have created content in at least either you do all three in one place or you do one across the board. Like I'm going to do one on my VIP, I'm going to do one on my personal, I'm going to do one on my business page. And then it also is about the message, which is the last one, the three core messages. Okay. So I know a lot of us sometimes we're like, I don't know what to post. All right. I'm just not sure. Well, you're going to take one topic. So for instance, I'm just going to like use this pen. Okay. For an example, and you're going to do three core messages around one topic, okay, about the one product, the one brand, and you're going to come at it in three different ways. So you can make one. You don't have to always constantly come up with new ideas, you guys. You just have to go at the same idea in different ways, and that will also help you reach different people. So for instance, this pen, maybe the first video I make is, oh my gosh, this pen writes so well. I love it. I have never in my life found ink that is so consistently giving me the most amazing thing, right? Okay, that's the first angle. Maybe the next angle is, do you guys ever have a pen that just breaks and it's just constantly you're just hitting it? Oh my gosh, not only does this pen not break, it's super durable. It makes me so happy every single time I use it. Now I'm talking about feelings, right? Then the third way I might go about it. Wow, have you guys seen ugly pens? This is the cutest pen I have seen around. And I'm talking about the look of it. Does that make sense? How you can have three different messages about the same product? Does anyone have any questions about what I'm talking about with this 333 method?
I don't have any questions, but I wanted to add that when we post to remember that even if someone is in your VIP group and they follow your TikTok page and maybe you're Facebook friends with them, the algorithm doesn't always show them all like if you whatever you post. So you could even post the same thing across all of your platforms because it's not always going to hit the same people. So just keep that in mind too, especially if you get to the point where you're like, I don't know what content to make, I don't have time. It's okay to post some of the same things across your different spaces that you have.
Yeah. Using this 333 method, there is no way on earth that you will literally not have something to do towards your business. You can choose which direction to go, what to focus on. As long as you do one of these things, you are always working on something to produce income for your business, okay? Does anyone have any questions before we move forward?
And it's not just scrolling, guys. We're not just going to scroll for 30 minutes because that's going to be time wasting. So make
Yeah.
sure when that you are on your social media platforms, especially that it's purposeful when you're working your business. When you're working your business, you want to make it purposeful.
Yeah. This is all about intent.
All right.
Okay. So moving forward, we wanted to kind of focus on core bomb party income producing activities. I'm going to let Leigh go ahead and you want to take this one over?
Okay, so when we start narrowing it really down to bomb party, going back to that, our lives, our sales, our community, our team building, behind the scenes. So here are some of the things that we came up with core bomb party things that we should be doing. If not every day, close to it, because not everybody goes live every day, but you could be prepping. And if there's some things that you don't see on this list, feel free to drop them in the chat. But going live or prepping for an upcoming live, connecting with an upcoming hostess. If you didn't know, you can have set hostesses for your parties, not just a mystery hostess you pull. Shipping is a big one. Plugging into the BP trainings, our trainings that we have here every other Sunday, but also the ones that BP does, like Road to Ruby, BPU, the Friday Fizz. And so connecting into those are awesome. And if you have not been in BPU in a while, they have like done an overhaul on it. So I recommend, even if you've been around like me and Moni for a gazillion years, we went back and there was like, wow, this is like, we're glad that this is in here. Didn't even realize. So I encourage you to check that one out. And then thinking about, do you need to order? Do you need to prep or pre-order for inventory? Because I don't know about you guys, but I've had those weeks where I was like, oh man, I forgot to pre-order. So having that on your schedule. And if you didn't know, and I can post the directions later, but you can take Bomb Party's calendar and sync it to your Google Calendar. So anytime Bomb Party puts a date in their calendar, it automatically adds to your Google Calendar. So if you didn't know that, drop a Google in the chat and then I will post those directions. It's super easy to have that synced in. I love it because now I can just go to my personal, because I use Google Calendar for everything. And I just open it up and Bomb Party stuff is right there. And anytime they change a date, it's automatically updated. So you don't even have to update it yourself. Okay, I see some Googles in there. So I will put those directions in. I'll do that after this training. I don't have like a sheet written up for it, but it's super easy. And so I'll do that for you guys. Oh my goodness, everybody's putting Google in.
Yeah,
So,
it's a really exciting thing if you guys haven't done this yet.
yes.
It takes the guesswork. Yeah. It takes the guesswork out of searching for the information too.
And
Um, yeah.
And then for the leaders, like Manny and anybody like leaders, like if you constantly have things for your schedule, for your team, I can even show you how you can make a team calendar and then they can upload it to their Google. And when you change yours, it changes for them too. So it makes it nice. It makes it nice. So I will send that out. So, but does anybody
Yeah.
else have anything else that's like our bomb party must-haves? Like these are the things that we should be working on for our business.
Yeah, and
Yes, I will send all that.
I just want to add, so that's a good point what Lee said, because as you guys decide to build a team, using this calendar as a team calendar and everyone being connected in, you have very streamlined communication, looking at calendar for updates. Yes,
Hmm.
exactly, Ron. It's really great. And it's a great way to communicate with your team and be connected besides a group chat, something to quickly give you like a little update. Oh, the calendar changed for my team. Okay, I can look at this in my schedule. Now with the streamlining, okay, and connecting that to this, that is going to be something you can do all along the way. So as we go deeper into this training, you'll see like for shipping, for example, like you can streamline how you do your shipping, right? And there's going to be different techniques for different people. If we're going to be honest, like when we were doing this training, we were afraid to go overtime because each one of these things in this core bomb party income producing activities, we could talk about them for a while. There's a lot of
Hmm.
little details about each and every one of these topics. So if there's any of these topics in here that you guys have a question about in particular, feel free to ask that now, because we may move forward into some more hopefully things that'll help you. So if there's any questions, now is your time to ask.
All right. Yes, because I mean we could on this topic, we could train on it, I think, for days and days diving deeper. So we're just kind of scratching the surface today.
Yeah. And I do want to just point out one more time. I know Lee already said it, but we're being very serious. If you guys have not plugged into the back office of the BP trainings, they literally have badges you guys can earn along the way. Even for me, I've been here 6 years and I was floored with what amount of content is back there
Yeah,
now
they've
for
really
training.
stepped it up. I mean, I remember when we first started, there was nothing.
There was
And so
nothing.
it's come a long way. They've put a lot of time and effort into it, and it's really nice back in there now.
Yeah. Okay. We're going to move on to the next one.
Okay, so now that we have some ideas, okay, how to streamline, what we should be doing, like let's talk about some methods and really what can you do? And for each individual person, how you do your business and work it is going to look different. But we're thinking about someone who's just starting out or not sure where to go. So we recommend the power hour method. And it doesn't have to be just 1 hour. If you have 2 hours today, then you do 2 hours. If you have an hour in the morning and an hour in the night, or 2 hours in the night, or here or there, your schedule changes. Work it that fits into your life and your family. But here is the basic. We got Moni and I. If you didn't read our bios, I know I skipped through that. We both teach during the day. So our time is very limited when we get home. And so we want to make it purposeful when we go. And so that's why we've got the power hour here. So the power hour example that we have is just 15 minutes, reach out. That's going to be that new content, those likes, those posts in there. The 15 minutes, the follow-ups, whether it's follow-ups with customers, people who are posting on your contact, following up. You could even do a little bit of following up with potential team members in here. And then, of course, that content making. If you don't batch your content, and batching is I batch my content, so I'll spend an afternoon one day and I'll make like 10 pieces of content that I'll use over several days. If you like to just make your content and post, there's a good time for that 15 minutes. Just make it and go. And then 15 minutes to do what you need to do with your team. As your team grows, you know that 15 minutes is going to grow, but here is a great starting point. Moni, do you
Yeah.
want to add anything
Yeah,
to the?
I'm to relate this back to the 333 method. You have the first three, which Leigh mentioned, is reach out, your likes, your comments, your replies, right? That's part of that. The second three, just to show you guys how to implement the things that we're teaching. The second three, right, is the follow up. So that's the places in your personal page, your business page, your VIP group, your stories, your reels, right? You're trying to reconnect, right? And then the second three, the core messages, that's what you're content making, right? You're deciding what are you going to talk about? How are you going to focus on your marketing, this and that. And then team is really, to me, team has to do with all three of those because it has to do with building that
Mhm.
collaborative spirit with the people that have either chosen you as a mentor or the people that are working the business the same way that you are, because we are all bomb party, and it is about us rising together, and that's what we're here for. Okay, me and Leigh believe in a collaborative spirit, and that's also why we work with other leaders that have that same ideals that we have, like Manny and Lo and Ron and all the other leaders that are in here. Okay. Um, does anybody have any questions in regard to this? I do know I did see that Manny answered Jack. I think it was Jackie that said she was a new rep. Yeah, your BPU, if you look in your back office, you'll see the tabs at the very top and it'll say BPU. I believe it's under resources, perhaps. It might be right there. I'd have to go and look, but it's right at one of the top tabs. Does anyone
Mhm.
have any questions about any of these, how to implement any of these 15 minutes? And again, you can do 2 hours. It would be 30, 30, 30, and 30 if that's something the time that you have. Everyone's going to have time differently in their life, and you can mix and match these, how Manny had asked earlier. You don't have to do, if you want to do 30 minutes of reach out and 30 minutes of marketing, you can. I think it has its own tab next to resource. Oh, yeah, you might be right. Again, let me see. Yeah, BPU is its own tab at the top. Yep, you're right. It's between reports and resources. I'm looking at it right now. Yes, ma'am. Okay. So if not, we are going to move on to the next slide.
How do we know what kind of, so when I batch content, I look at things, so I call it evergreen content. So maybe I will just put on my jewelry and I will just take all kinds of video of me in different outfits, putting on and taking off jewelry. And then I like to do a lot. So I don't always post like this is the upcoming jewelry. I like to post quotes and different things. And so that's how I do mine. But like jewelry of the days, you can do your jewelry of the day for 10 days and no one's going to know for the most part, unless they see you out in public, that that's not really your jewelry of the day. But think of things that are not time specific. Jewelry of the day is always good. Putting on jewelry, if there's like tips and tricks. I did a video one time of connecting two different necklaces together and showing how you could layer them together. And so you could do style videos, maybe just showing off your favorite collection, how to keep it clean. Like, obviously summertime is coming up. Let's not take our jewelry and put sunblock all over it and then take it in the chlorine water and then leave it out. So keeping our jewelry nice. So it's really just thinking of different ideas that really go on your niche. So I do a lot of mom and teacher type content. And I do, like I said, a lot of quotes. And I've started this one. It's called the Quiet Part series. And it's like the quiet part that nobody talks about in their business. And so I'll just have a lot of video that just is just showing off jewelry or me putting on and off jewelry. And then I'll do a voiceover. And then because I'm doing voiceovers, I can reuse that video for something else later. So that's another thing too. That would be another day if you guys want to learn how to do that kind of stuff and making content. That way you can reuse some of the video that you've already made.
Yeah, and there's one point that if you guys have a pen and paper out, which I hope you do, I'm going to say something that I hope you write down. No matter what kind of content you make, and that's a whole training in and of itself too. It's going to be one of three things, and it's the three E's, the letter E as an elephant, okay? It's either going to be an entertaining piece of content, an educational piece of content, or some kind of emotional piece of content that's going to engage with the consumer about the brand, right? You're going to make it a personal type of content. So it's always going to be one of those three things, okay? Educational, entertaining, or emotional of some kind, okay? To connect, because you're always thinking about connecting, right? You're identifying one of those three things in your content and then repurposing it in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And two, with batching as well, if you didn't know, you can go into your if you're going live, particularly on TikTok, you can go in and you can download that video and you can break it up into a bunch of smaller videos, like showing off a reveal. And so that might be part of your batching too, is you just have a bunch of different like little clips of different reveals to give people an example of what could come.
Yeah. And if you haven't yet found the feature in TikTok, there is in the back end of your profile page, you can just download from your live and you can
Yeah, they
take
have the
snippets
clips
from
right
your
there.
live.
And
Okay.
you can edit them. Yes. So if it clips it and it's like, oh man, I wish I had the couple seconds before, a couple seconds after, you can adjust all of that.
Mhm.
Um,
And just wait. So like record a video on your phone and when uploading to TikTok, you can break them up. Yes, you can. Yes,
hmm
you can
Yeah.
do it that way
Yeah,
too.
I record. I rarely ever will go into TikTok and record from there. I record on my phone and then I just upload and do what I need to do because I will, yeah, like I said, I take a bunch of random videos at points of the sometimes during the day, or if I'm doing my batch contenting, I will just change an outfit, change my jewelry really quick, and then I can just upload all of those.
Yeah. For a long time, I used to do like every Sunday at a certain time. So batching means that you are making all of your content like in your schedule. You decided Sundays is your day that you are going to record content because you work
You just
maybe
make a
like me
yeah,
and
whole
Leigh are
bunch of content
teachers.
at one time and save it for later.
Yeah, so you're creating the content in one day for that you're going to use for the whole week. And there are ways in TikTok and Facebook and different platforms where you can actually schedule when the post goes live. So
Yeah, and
it'll
even
go live
scheduling it, that's
automatically
hmm
at a certain time. And these are all, again, there's so much topics that we could go dive deeper in. And if you have any specific thing that we're saying that you're like, I need to know more about that, remember we will talk about resources at the end, but YouTube is your best friend. YouTube is my best friend. If you don't find it in the back office, if you don't find the information like when you use Google, go to YouTube University is what I call it, because you will find somebody out there who created a step by step. It does exist, but you do have to put your energy into learning that tool, right? Unless your mentor is able to give you a one-on-one and you're able to schedule that with them. But just remember, you should probably do some legwork before you even schedule a one-on-one with a mentor, because it's really important that you invest your time and energy into your knowledge, because your knowledge is your business, and that is your income. Okay. Get ready, because you guys are very lucky. We are sharing on the next page
So I was
something
gonna,
that I'm going to let
yes.
Leigh introduce.
So now, all right, this is all great. I am a checklist person. I am 100% a checklist person. If I don't have it on a checklist, then I will forget that it even exists in life. So I'm going to share with you guys my this is part I made a journal myself. And so hopefully it opens for you guys. I have to apologize because I didn't check to make sure it did it all correctly. But this is part of the simplifying and streamlining. If you are a checklist person and you want what is on the screen, if you shoot me a text and you send me the word power, it should reply right back to you so you can download it. So this is what I use for my power hours. Oh, look at that. Y'all are doing power. I can see them all popping in. All right, let me see if it worked. All right. Yep, there it goes. Okay. All right. But let me know if it doesn't open. Okay. So this is exactly what I use. So I do this as my power hour. And so I write down and I do it as a journal. So I can go back 6 months and be like, okay, let's look at what my business was doing then, and so I give a little bit on what am I grateful for the day? What are my non-negotiables? Those are the things that have to get done today, no matter what. My to-dos, this is my things that I want to do, but that they're not necessarily a non-negotiable that has to get done today. Professional development, I don't always write down in that section, but if I come up with something that I'm like, oh, I need to learn how to do this or an upcoming training, then I will put that there. New connections, I write names of new people in my community or new potential team members or new team members, new people in my life. That's where I put it. And then those follow-ups. Who do I need to follow up with? And then any notes that I have, and then kind of my social media checklist, and then my wins. And so, like I said, I use it as a Rondo, you have to text message me to get it. And you
The
guys are not
number
signing
is
up for anything.
the number is 386
Oh,
388 7182. If you guys can't see
yes.
it, it might be too small. Yeah.
Oh, okay. It's being nasty. Okay, it's being nasty. All right. So thank you to 0550. I everyone who messages me power, it's being nasty right now. Don't click the link. I'll have to resend it to you. I knew it was going to be nasty. Um, and I will resend that all out. It'll make it easy. I'll just send that out after the live is over today. So you guys will get that from me. But if you don't particularly care about the journal that we have here, there are several different journals on Amazon that you can look at. I know different teams have worked together and like everybody got the same journal and they worked through.
Oh, let
So,
me show you.
so if you are interested in some of those type of journals, we can send those out. And I've seen other lists that other team have done, like their IPAs. So get with your leader if they have a checklist or not that is available for y'all's teams. But anyone who text messaged me, like I said, after this live, or after this training,
Yeah.
I
And
will get that
I'll
sent to
share
you.
this
I
one real quick.
apologize.
I'll
Oh
share
yeah,
this one real
Moni's
quick.
got it.
So this is an awesome journal that I have used in my business for a minute. My diamond leader had suggested it. It's called the Law of Attraction Planner. It's from a company called Freedom Mastery. And I like it because, well, it comes with all these cute little stickers and things like that that you can use inside. But um, in here, it has like action steps to feel better and increase your emotional vibration. So there's like little like self-realization things. There's also things about like your journey, your personal development. Like you can, you have a little bit of legwork before you get into it, mind mapping. But when you get into the nitty gritty, what I really like is, and because my mind is kind of ADHD, it works in so many different ways. There is a goal of the month. So like you have a date, like a calendar, like a monthly calendar. You can write ideas and notes down here, actions and things like that. But then, which is my other favorite part, is it breaks it down by day. And then you can literally, then it also breaks it down by hour, by every 30 minutes. So you can write in a goal every 30 minutes if you want to do it that way, and then literally check it off. So I really love this one. It worked for me, and I emailed it to myself to be able to. Oh, okay, that's good, DD. That's good for the Power Hour. So if any of you guys like, you could try this one, Law of Attraction Planner by Freedom Mastery. I really like this one.
Well, good. Yes. So anyone who has issues with the power, I will resend it. I just re-downloaded it to upload and I'll get that to you. I just wanted to also show you guys text messaging because text messaging is a way that you can streamline when it works, or what I should say, I didn't upload it properly. But when you get it together, it is a way that you can streamline your business and automate it. So that kind of segues us into some ways to streamline and automate your business. If
Yeah,
you're
and
using, oh,
no, go
go
ahead.
Moni. Go Moni.
I was just to say, like that includes automation of your communication with your customers, which
Mm-hmm.
can be overwhelming at times as you grow, because every customer and person that engages with you wants to feel like it's a personal connection, and there's only so much time in a day, but there can be automated personal messages that you can send out. And even me myself, like I'm still getting into my automation season. I think Leigh is a little bit ahead in that season and me, but you can learn this at any point in your business, but definitely at some point you are going to get to where you want to automate stuff, and that is a whole training in of itself, automation.
Mm-hmm.
But we did want to touch on it. So if you want to go ahead and share this slide.
So, one automated way that you may not even be tapping into that you have readily available is who here is using ship.com? If you are using ship.com for your shipping, right now you might know that it'll send out to your customers when it ships, their tracking and things like that. But you can actually go in and have other automated emails. So I actually have one that's like 60 days out, and it goes back to everyone who ordered 60 days. And then that way it automatically sends them another follow-up, like how are your gems doing? And so I put in just kind of that reaching out. And so you can set things like that you can add in, and it's automated so you don't have to think about it ever again. You don't have to go back and go like, all right, if I'm going to send out an email 60 days after their order, you don't even have to think about it. So there is a lot of automation right within the email feature that ship.com has.
Yeah.
And ship.com has great tutorials on how to set all of that up. Okay, is there an issue with ship.com? I sent out an email and no one got it. One found it. Um,
They may have to make sure that you're not going to their,
yeah,
like,
there's
to a
spam, but
spam
that's
section.
going to
Like,
be with that's going to be with anything, any emails that you send out with any companies. Just make sure that they have you on their safe senders list.
yeah, they have to add you to like a favorites, or like a, make sure that you're not going to go into their spam. So if you went into their promotions, there's a setting in their email they have to change. Yeah. They're going to have to change their settings in their email. And I
Yeah,
believe those got it. Yeah. I believe those of you, if there's anybody using like not the 19.99 a month in Ship, then you may not have the feature of Connect where you can create a campaign. The Connect feature, the email campaigns are awesome, you guys. Like that's what I use all the time. I used to use text automation for like email, like when I would go live and I would send a text. But that costs money, like more money on top of all the other money we have put going out there. So that's part of automation, is that it can cost you money to implement some of these applications. But Shift.com, if you're already paying the 19.99, this is not
Hmm.
added money going out expenses. It's not an added expense. It's an expense you already have, and you can utilize what you're already paying for. Okay. So definitely look into creating your campaigns, creating your automated emails back once they've ordered. Encourage, you can always encourage a pre-order in those automated emails, like saying, thank you so much for ordering. On your next order, you can blah, 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 whatever it is that you want to offer as
Or encourage
a
them to join,
special.
like if you have a VIP group, just to that additional plug of different ways they can connect with you and your business.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of how Moni talked, a lot of automation does cost money, but at some point, your business could be to the point of, I'm ready to jump to the next level, but the time portion. And so we're not really going to talk about all of the ways today, but just know that there are different things that you can do in your business. They are extra business expenses, but that extra business expense, could it save you time that you could be doing other things? And so you have to weigh those. So I would not just jump right into all the extra expenses. Just make sure that you are ready for that in your business. But emails and text messages are and even DMs with Facebook. And there's a little bit too with TikTok now that I've been messing with automations, but they all do cost money. But when you're ready to take that next leap, it might be something that you want to look at in your business. And I'll give you an example of a text message thing that I helped another Bomb Party leader create for her team. It was a diamond leader, and she created when a new rep signs up, like all the to-dos that a new rep needs to do, all the things that we need to tell them. It was a text message and email series. So for the first almost 2 weeks of their business, they got this email and text message of all the different things to be doing. So it freed up our time as sponsors, that we could just make those connections versus saying, all right, let's set up your back office. Let's get your party started. And so it makes it nice, especially those things that are repeated, to get on automation. But that's next level business. So that's all I'm going to say for that now. That could be a training later on down the road, but that's kind of been my bread and butter for the last year, is really working with the automations and getting that going. So,
Yeah.
but
And I want to add on, I saw Dee Dee's comment about how when you post in your VIP on Facebook, it's a ghost town. I will tell you, part of implementing these 333 methods and part of implementing intentional communication, it will help boost the engagement, because the more that you are creating educational, emotional, or entertaining content, and the more that you are implementing these tools, people will inevitably start to engage with you.
And my question would be on that too is, do you try to engage with your people? So working on the 3-3 method, one thing that I would suggest for that, if you've got a ghost town going on, is look at who your VIPs are, start with them, and maybe go to their personal pages and connect on some of their stuff, because it might be that they're just not even seeing it. So it could be an algorithm problem.
Yeah,
So to start looking at connecting with their content, and making sure that your content is not always buy my jewelry, buy my jewelry, buy my jewelry. It's really on those three E's, and it'll start getting some more engagement. But that could be an algorithm issue. Without looking at your numbers, wouldn't be able to say. But I would say first step, I would suggest your 333 method would be just reaching personal Facebook, just reaching out to those VIPs that way.
yeah. Because I know in mine, if people don't engage with the content at least once a week, I could do a post and nobody will see it because they haven't been engaging, right? So it's
Hmm.
not, Facebook isn't going to put it up as something for them to look at unless they've like checked it as like notify me when there's a post, and it'll be like notify me for all posts. And yeah. And when we get to the resources section, I will mention something that I think is very beneficial in a resource for both TikTok and Facebook. They're their own beast, you guys. There could be whole
Hmm.
trainings just on one of those platforms. But yes, the more that you use intentional interaction and engagement and connection, hopefully you will have more people connecting with you through these methods. Okay. All right. So in streamlining, we've been talking about these IPAs, right? These income producing activities. I'll read this to you real quick because it can be really challenging. We all know that we've talked about prioritizing, using your power hour, using your 333, using 15 minutes, cutting it up. What are you going to do? What sections are you going to talk about? And in doing all of this, this is hopefully along the way going to, by grouping your tasks, your revenue, it's going to help your revenue. Okay. It's going to help generate revenue. Okay. And then you're going to know when you're putting time towards non-revenue tasks, right? Like you're like, oh, I'm organizing things, or I'm cleaning up my station or whatever. Obviously, that's not any income producing activity, but you'll have data to see what is happening there, okay, and why you're not making money, and then you can move and schedule your time. But I'm going to put more time here or more time there, okay, by understanding where your time goes and focusing it and simplifying it and making it more meaningful, that's going to help reduce your stress, and that's going to hopefully increase your happiness that you have this business that you decided to invest in to begin with. Okay. I didn't read that word for word, but that's pretty much what this slide is
Yep.
talking about.
So
And
just make
I love.
sure that in everything you do, your focus is on your lives, your customers, your community, team, your business, and what you can control. All right. That's a big one on the what you control. You can't control if someone sees what you post. You can't control the numbers in your live. You can't control the caps on how much inventory we can get. But if we focus on the key points of our business, it's going to be moving in the right direction.
Yeah. You always want to focus on your things that you control, you guys. There's always going to be room for a company to do better. There's always going to be room for a leader to do better. There's always going to be room for, other people outside. But if you focus on yourself and your business and your IPAs, your income producing activities, okay, what you're doing daily, then that is going to help you stay focused and help you grow. Okay. This is why we put this here, because I think sometimes along the way in our business, for me, I know like you have to remember the energy you put out there is the energy you get back. And if you surround yourself, this is also with collaboration, right? And with communication. If you spend a lot of energy complaining or engaging with people who are just complaining and like, oh, well, my business sucks because I couldn't get enough, I'm not going to put it out there, but let's just say June, because that already passed. I couldn't get enough June. I couldn't get enough necklaces. I couldn't get enough of this. And that's all you guys are just talking about in this ebb and flow of just like complaining. You're wasting time. You're wasting time that you could be doing an income producing activity to help your business. that conversation is helpful, but think about it. What if you took those conversations with those people, or maybe you get new people to have new conversations with, and we'll talk about a bling bestie at the end. But what if you wasted that time instead on, hey, what are you doing this week? What content are you making this week? I decided to do content about this, or I'm really excited about this new thing that's coming up. I made an email, and this is what the opportunity that I'm going to send my customers on an email. Or, oh my goodness, did you see that new feature on TikTok that you can use in a story? Or wow, did you see in BPU they had blah blah blah? Start turning your conversations into ways to talk about those income producing activities. So then your energy, you're rising, okay? You're rising up your business, you're focusing up. And trust me, if you do this, there is no way that you are going to fail, okay? Because I don't know if you've ever heard this, but I love this saying is success is where opportunity and preparation meet. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So as long as you guys start changing your mind towards doing actionable goals that you can control, you're going to love your business. Okay. You're going to start loving it.
All right. Real quick, cutting the fat.
Okay. There's a lot on these slides that's about to come up, but if you guys have any questions, you can. I'm going to actually read this word for word because it might be small for some people. So I'm just going to go ahead and read it. So cut the fat has a few different ways to cut the fat in your business. Okay. First one is to simplify your content and your social media. Consistency, you're going to do high-end editing. So it's better to go live and post consistently, even if it's simple, than to have one perfect post a week. Okay. So that how Leigh was talking about make batching or downloading your TikToks and cutting them up. Just go live, post the content from your live. If that's all you got, then that's what you got. And at least you did it. Okay. Leverage your content. So use your live reveals to create short form content. One live session could literally mean 10 TikTok reels or clips. So just from one
Or
live, you can
more.
cut
Yeah.
that up. Yeah. Focus on engagement. So you're going to engage with people and build your audience and talk to them. And the Sparkle Squad is built on connection. Okay. So I'm sure you've heard that before, connection, but your VIP, your Sparkle people is always going to be built on connection. And that's going to create that engagement. You're going to focus on that. Another way to cut the fat is you're going to streamline your live operations. Okay. So your authenticity. Perfection is you're going to stop spending hours setting up the perfect background. Perfection is not the goal, okay? Customers prefer and trust an authentic, relatable, and fun experience. So you're going to focus on your revenue activities. You're going to keep your lives focused on the product that whatever it is that's coming up, that's what you're going to keep your life focused on, okay? I understand. I just want to touch on this just a minute. So when I say cut the fat on this is when you're live, I get it, especially if you're new and you're sitting there and maybe you don't have a lot of reveals happening. I have seen people be live and they're spending time talking about, and I do it sometimes, talking about their dog or talking about, their car or talking about, something that has nothing to do with why they're there. You're there for the jewelry, right? And connection, right? So get the pieces out. Constantly show, you guys, constantly show. If there's one thing that I've learned about watching social media and social selling is that the more I see something, the more my brain is like, oh, I need that, right? But we don't know what we need sometimes until we see it in the window shopping, right? So just constantly teach yourself about the stones, the meaning of the stones, like always bring it back to the jewelry, bring it back to your personal connection, maybe personal stories with the jewelry, how you found the business, business, why you work the business. This is going to be very important. Start cutting the fat of everything else that you're doing in that live that's not making you connect with your Sparkle Squad about why you're all there. Even if you're not fizzing, you can still be sharing jewelry. We all have jewelry that we've either purchased or going to purchase, a collection that's coming out. Okay, I hope this is making sense. And the last part of that is sell, fizz, reveal, right? That's our goal, right? Sell, fizz, reveal, ship. This is a cycle that we want to try to get into, okay? Sell, fizz, reveal, and ship. That's the core revenue generator of our business, obviously, okay? But I do know I've been new before. I do understand that I myself actually have had a live where I was live for 4 hours, and I think I got one sale. And maybe some of you are like, no way. But I have had to, me personally, I have had to put in the work for every single sale since the beginning of time. Okay. I used to be live on Facebook for 8 hours in a room that said 0 people and nobody talking to me, and stay there for 8 hours. So if there's anybody that, if you guys want a training about like, how do you talk through the silence, then we could, work on that. It's definitely a skill, but you can definitely build your skill in that. You can definitely put tools in your toolbox so that when you're live, you don't feel like you're just like pulling at thin air. Okay. It's really important to cut the fat on those lives, you guys, and realize that what you say in your live, it does matter. Okay. It does matter. Now, the next one.
I was gonna say, I wanted to add really quick,
Yeah, go ahead.
when we talk about it doesn't need to be the perfect background, it also doesn't need to be your pile of your kids' dirty clothes behind you either. We're
Oh,
talking, it can be a simple, just blank wall behind you. So background in itself, it does matter, but but what I'm saying is it could just be a blank wall behind you. So yeah, we don't want, my kids' dirty clothes behind me in my live. All right,
yeah.
yes, on to the next one. Mm.
Yeah. But just to add to that point too, though, I know that there's a lot of us that sometimes I've had a person who didn't even start going live, since I think there's some newbies in here that it stopped them because they didn't have the perfect XYZ behind them. And sometimes you have to start from where you are. So if you are going to, go live with your couch behind you, just make sure those dirty clothes aren't there. If you're going live with your kitchen behind you, make sure you don't have like a bunch of, junk on the counter, right? Food everywhere. It's okay to start with where you're at, but just try to make sure you create an environment that is pleasant to look at. And even if it is a blank wall, that's better than, a pile of trash. Something like that. Okay. All right. Number 3, cut the inventory overspend. I'm sure you guys have heard this. We have great leaders in here. So I'm just going to read it to you. Resist the urge to buy every single launch, especially in high quantities, unless you have guaranteed demand. Focus on turnover. Buy what you can, sell quickly, turnover to keep the cash flowing. Okay. I get it. Sometimes we have FOMO, and I also get it that sometimes we want to have everything of all the things coming out. But if you go into the red in your business and you're not looking at your numbers and understanding the demand that you have, you could get into a place where you can't even continue running your business. So this is definitely something that you will want to connect with your mentor with and look at your numbers monthly, really look at the data. Where is the demand? Do polls in your lives, and make the best choices, and stop thinking that you have to have everything all the time. Okay. If there's any questions about any of these 3 before we do the last one, does anybody have any questions so far?
I don't see
Oh,
anything popping in the chat. If you guys got any questions later, we're always here.
yeah. Okay. The very last one is essential business habits and what to keep. Okay. So we talked about mindset a little bit. So you're just know that you're going to have highs. So expect highs and lows, but you need to keep your mindset strong, especially on the days where you have lower sales. Okay. You have to keep a strong mindset. It's going to happen. Your business is not just one live, not one launch party. Okay. Your business is a daily generating activities. Okay. Customer service, make sure that you're shipping quickly, especially within the 5 days. Make sure you have you create a positive customer experience that leads to repeat buyers. So that has to do with making sure you're engaging through automation and like through emails and things like that. And then the consistency word, showing up regularly, is the number one way to build trust and sales. And you may fail at some of these. I failed a little bit at this past week. I wasn't literally live until I think five minutes before this training. I was live finally today. I hadn't been live all week because I had life stuff happen. It happens, but as long as you stay in communication with your Sparkle Squad, with your VIPs, they want to be there for you guys. Okay, everybody is going to have ups and downs, but as long as you keep your mindset strong, and you surround yourself with people who have the same goals and mindset as you're going to be able to cut the fat, cut the noise, and create a positive business for yourself. Does anybody have questions? Okay. Leigh, go ahead and take this.
All right. So know your resources. All right, guys. You've got a sponsor. Every one of us has a sponsor. If your sponsor is not helpful, there is someone above them, and there's someone above them, and you can go all the way to the top. There's going to be someone on your team somewhere. You just might have to do a little digging. But if you're here, that means you are on great teams and you've got a great sponsor because we are all willing to help. If you guys didn't know, like Moni and I, we're not under each other or on each other's teams. We're kind of side sisters, and we're not even on the same team as Manny and J Lo. So we've come together as leaders for you guys. So number one resource is going to be your sponsor and your team. Don't forget the active group. There is a lot of, when it comes to BP information, that group is a wealth of knowledge. And then, of course, BPU, work in your business, how to set up things is all now in BPU as well. And then, of course, YouTube. When in doubt, YouTube is your friend, and even TikTok now, if you've got questions, the how to, just write in there. Don't reinvent the wheel. Don't, if you've got an idea, but you're not quite sure how to do it, somebody most likely has already done it before you. And so YouTube and searching are going to be your best friends there.
And I'm going to add to that. So two resources that I think are not used by many and should be used are Facebook Academy. And if you
Yeah.
haven't, look it up. Let's look it up. I know there was some Dee Dee, I think, said that she wanted to get better with her Facebook. There is a Facebook Academy, friends, that
And
will
if you have a
teach you.
Facebook page, it'll even tell you this week you should post this and post this. It'll even, yes, tell you what to do.
It tells you about content. It shares, teaches you about marketing. It teaches you so much wealth of knowledge. There's also TikTok Academy, and you guys can just Google these: Facebook Academy, TikTok Academy. In TikTok Academy, it will teach you, yes, about posting content. It'll teach you about marketing. It'll teach you about the platform. It'll teach you about TikTok Shop. It'll teach you anything you want to know about TikToks. Facebook and TikTok academies are worth everything. Definitely
Hmm.
go dig in, okay? And I know each of those platforms can seem overwhelming because there is a lot of daily activities you have to do to make the platform algorithm understand that you are trying to get into a partnership with it, into a relationship with it. Facebook, like Leigh said, they have daily activities that if you do those activities, it says to the algorithm, okay, this person cares about us, we're going to care about you, and they push out your content. And the same thing with TikTok. Okay. Um, I don't have as big a numbers as, everybody else, but I do know that when I engage with the platforms and do some of these TikTok Academy things, it has helped me. Same with Facebook. So it does work. So YouTube, these academies, your sponsor, the people on your team, and BPU. These are really important resources.
And on a side note, and we could talk 10 years about this, but the algorithm itself, guys, it is literally just statistics. It's just math. So the more you engage with it, the better it's going to know who you are and what you are with your business.
Yeah.
And with that, I would say another tool to help you is get a Bling Bestie. So was it 4 years ago, Moni?
Oh God, actually, I think
It,
five
it
now.
may it may have been 4 years ago, three or
Yeah.
four, no, 4 years ago. Moni
Oh,
reached out in our team group and was like, I need an accountability buddy. And I reached back and was like, I'm a teacher doing this business part-time. I don't have as good a sales as you, but if you'll have me, here I am. And I will tell you, Moni and I, we're like each other's yin and yang, and we balance each other out. So find you someone who is not just going to be your gossip buddy, but someone that's really going to help you move that business forward. Like Moni and I discovered together, I'm more of a numbers and techie person. She's a more, I like to chat with everybody and fly by the seat of my pants. And so I've actually
yeah, I'm a
gotten Moni.
creative.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's the more creative. I've actually gotten Moni once a month. We now sit down and we pull our numbers together. And if that's something you don't do, that's a great way to really tell where you are in your business. And so we've started that we once a month, it's a non-negotiable. We're going to look at all of our numbers, see where we're at, see if we're on track for our goals. And so find you somebody. And like I said, we're not like I don't benefit from her sales. She doesn't benefit from mine. We are just two BP sisters who have come together and was like, we are going to do better and we're going to help each other get there. So I
Yeah.
encourage you to find you somebody that you can bounce
Be
ideas off with,
accountable.
but also, just help each other with those goals because we also, for like this training, we didn't have to do it by ourselves. Moni did some and I did some, and we collaborated together to make use of our time.
Yeah. Thank you so much to everyone who's been here. We're so
Thank
excited.
you.
If any of you guys want to follow me on TikTok or Facebook or whatever the platform is, I am Trinket Bliss or Trinket Bliss Tribe, either one, Trinket and Bliss. And oh, you're super welcome. Thank you. And Leigh.
I am in the midst of rebranding, guys. I am rebranding and I let my TikTok go to poo poo. So I actually am focusing right now just on my VIP group because for my business, I have decided that for the longest time, was the live and go. I'm trying to stop share right now. And so that's what I'm doing right now is I've gone back to the basics with my business. And so right now I do not have other than my VIP group. So but you guys are
Yeah.
welcome to connect with me. I'm Leigh Anne on Facebook.
Yeah. And I hope that thank you so much for everyone saying that they enjoyed this training. We did work to try to simplify the training so that it could be more ingestible because there's a lot of information there. It was
Mhm.
helpful. Good. I'm so glad. And if there's any in particular topics you guys are like, I would love to dig into that. Let your leaders know, and we can always do another training about a specific in-depth topic, about one thing. You're super welcome. I will tell you that it is possible to be successful in this business. And you just have to decide what success looks like for you. Um, you know, it is great when you have goals of, hitting ruby and aquamarine and opal and a diamond and all these things, like all of that is wonderful on your income. But I'll tell you, the thing that I love the most from this business is my connections. I wouldn't give those up for the world. The friendships that I've made, and also my mindset growth. Like, I have grown as a person. And it also helps me to connect, knowing that I'm not alone in my ups and my downs. Okay. And if there's anything I hope you guys do get from this, is that it's okay to have ups and downs, but stop complaining. Stop complaining, because we're not here to complain, you guys. That's what we did before. And if you want to do the same thing and expect a different result, then keep complaining. But if you want a new result, stop complaining and look at what your actionable goals can be. What are your income producing activities? Look at the data. What can you actually change? Gossiping is all fun and dandy, but at the end of the day, when you're talking about your business, gossiping isn't going to get you to success. Okay. But making a plan and looking at what you can control will get you to a place better than where you were. Okay. This business does work. I've been here for 6 years, and I wouldn't still be here if I didn't get something out of it. Okay. We're going to leave the floor open for any questions. If anybody has
I'm gonna
anything,
hit stop recording, but yeah.